Hello and welcome to Peak Performance Training for Tennis. My name is Idris Smith. I'm the High Performance Director of Tennis at Wheaton Sports Center. Today I'm joined by the wonderful Linda LeClaire. We are really fortunate to have her. Linda is a nationally and internationally known energy coach. Linda, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Hey, Linda, in one of our previous talks, you had introduced us to energy and our energy and how it can be stuck or scattered or flowing freely and in balance. And so I wanted you to sort of take us through some of that again, and how we get stuck.
Okay, great question. I'm glad we were going to get into it more. Some of the some things that we get blocked from are different kinds of fears that we have. Fear of not being good enough, fear of change, fear of being judged, fear of not having enough time, fear of not having enough. There's a lot of fears that we have that block our energy. And hopefully in future sessions, we can talk a little bit more about those fears. But today I'd like to talk about something that goes a little deeper, and that's our mind.
Mm.
And
Ooh, it sounds good.
yeah, we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Both are really important and both work together. The conscious mind is the creative mind. That's the mind where our wishes, dreams, and aspirations are created, okay? And when we are in the present moment, we are coming from our conscious mind. Our other mind is the subconscious mind. And this mind is, it's the habitual mind. It stores all the information, all of our experiences, just like a recorder would record what's happening to us. It doesn't decide whether something is good or bad. It just takes it in all as truth, which can be very interesting. And herein actually lies the problem, is that we think that we're running our lives from our wishes, desires, and aspirations, the things that we want in life. We think that's what's driving us. Unfortunately, what we know now is that only 5% of the time are we coming from our conscious mind. Which means 95% of our time we're coming from our subconscious mind. For instance, whenever we think, we go inward. So we're no longer in the present moment and we're inward thinking about something. And when that happens, then the subconscious programs take over. Now, these programs can come from any number of sources. The ones that cause us a lot of trouble are the programs that we took on before the age of 6 or 7. So we had no filter as far as, oh, this is good, or no, I don't believe that. Everything we took in, it was as if it were truth. We were just this big open vessel taking all this information in. And it was great if the information was empowering us. But of course, if the information wasn't empowering us, then it's there and it's hurting us and it gets triggered in our lives today. It's still there unless we did any of these processes to change those beliefs. But because they're subconscious, we're not aware of them. So how do we become aware of them, you ask?
Yeah, you must see my wheels turning in my head right now.
Well, we're subconscious. What can we do about it? So anyway, we look at our lives because our lives are a blueprint of our subconscious. And whatever is going well in our life, whatever we are enjoying doing and it's going smoothly and efficiently, that's a positive program in our subconscious mind. That's a positive belief that's being activated. But those times when things aren't going well, those things we have to really work and we struggle at, and it just seems like we can never quite move forward on it. Those beliefs are the ones that are limiting us. And they can be so tricky. I mean, some of them can be huge and right in our face, and we don't recognize that it's just a belief that is stopping or blocking us. And that's the thing to remember, is that beliefs are something that we have chosen to believe, or like I said, when we were younger, we didn't have a choice. So we just took it in because our brain was not formed enough to decipher whether it was a positive or a disempowering belief. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, totally.
Good. All right. This is actually relatively new to our consciousness, this awareness of our subconscious and how powerful it is. So if we have a belief that is not in sync with our wishes, our dreams, our aspirations, the problem is that the subconscious works faster than the conscious mind. In fact, it's like 1,000,000 times faster. It's so much faster. So if we have a conflict between a belief, a subconscious belief, and a wish or desire, which one do you think is going to take over?
Wow.
Okay, so it's going to be and because our subconscious mind is in charge 95% of the time, you can see where it would create havoc in our lives.
Right.
On the other hand, the positive news is that when we change these beliefs, when we discover them and then change them to more empowering beliefs, then those are the beliefs that are now being activated in our lives. So to me, it's great news. We just need to become aware of those beliefs and be willing to change them. And people aren't always willing to change because these beliefs are really strong. And it's easy to think that's the way it is. I've always been like this. No, that's the way I am.
I remember, and you know what, I remember there was a guy that I knew that he was one of the vice presidents at Under Armour, and one of the things that he said to me was that, Idris, if anyone comes into our organization and they say this, they say this phrase, then they're fired. He said if they say things like, or if they have already worked there and they say stuff like, well, that's how we've always done it. He said, you're fired. And so you can see those, even in listening to him, even at that level of, executive leadership, if you have that kind of mindset, it can get you in a lot of trouble. And I think maybe just more so it just gets you in trouble with how you think and what's your beliefs. But that's pretty,
it holds us back. It really limits us in our lives. I know Henry Ford is quoted as saying, if you believe you can, or you believe you can't, you're right. So if you think you can do something, you can do it. If you think you can't do it. That's how powerful the beliefs are. And the mind's job is to have the body and the beliefs in sync. Okay, so the belief is disempowering, like I'm not good enough. Then no matter what that area that you feel like you're not good enough in is, you'll always be proving that that's true. And you'll be looking for proof of that also. It's always something that's driving you. For instance, I think I told you about this when we were talking earlier, that about 1.5 years ago, I started playing singles again. And I hadn't been playing for 30 years or something like that. Singles, had only been playing doubles. And I had bought into the beliefs that that I was too old to play singles, that if I played singles, I'd get injured. Just a number of beliefs that I had bought into. but then I was highly motivated to get back into them because my grandkids were playing and I wanted to keep up with them. So I started playing again. And one of the beliefs I didn't realize that I had taken on was that I couldn't run on the court because I'd fall and get injured. So that fear of falling. And so when I was first started playing, I was really awkward when I was running for the balls, and I could feel it in my body, the awkwardness of it. And it was really strange because I love to run, and normally I think of that as a strength. And then it dawned on me that this was a belief I had, that I couldn't run anymore. And so I did some of the energy techniques to dissolve that belief and create a new belief that I could run freely and gracefully and safely on the court or anywhere. And I did that, and in like maybe a week or a week and a half, something like that, I was running on the court and playing singles, and I noticed that I was running faster and that I didn't have that block, that my energy was moving. And it was such a big difference in how I felt that I was like, wow, I feel like I'm flying out here. And then, it was just like, hey, I can run. This is great. This is good for me to run. And just changing, and first of all, becoming aware that I had the belief, and then changing it is what made the difference. And now I just feel like I get faster and faster instead of actually getting slower or more awkward. I feel like I'm more graceful even. So beliefs are incredibly powerful.
You can tell the difference in between even watching, you know, a really top junior to, a pro level player, how much difference that there is. I've seen some pro players go and hit with top collegiate players, the college player, while they're at the top of the game in the collegiate world, they're still just, they could literally be close to it, but that belief in themselves, it's just not quite there. And so you see some guys, some gals that play college tennis that, they never just quite make it they never quite make it professionally. Some of it for sure has to completely be based off of what they're thinking, what they believe in themselves.
Oh, it definitely does. And, you can see it on teams where you have like the really, really good teams that almost the whole team is all Americans. I mean, they're just all really high level players, but but not everybody can be number one on the team.
Right.
Okay. So imagine if your dream is to play on the tour and you're not even playing number one on your college team, how that could affect your self-image.
Right.
And yet, the fact, what's really stopping them isn't that they're playing number 5 or 3 or 4 or 6 on the team. It's that they're comparing themselves and they're judging themselves. And the act of comparing and judging always ends up blocking our energy. And so then they're in the moment creating the belief, I'm not good enough. If I can't play number one on my college team, how am I ever going to play out on the tour? And that unless they change that belief, that they will go out onto the tour, and that will hold them back.
When excuse me, if that probably has to transfer over into a lot of different aspects of people's professional lives. You just had part of the NFL draft, and you see some of the professional, or you see some of the young college football players that are trying to get into the NFL. How well are they? Do they feel like they're prepared? How high did they go? I would wonder how, a young guy trying to go and play professional football, where their mindset is, am I good enough to make it? Can I make it? it's just, I think that that's amazing, you know, to
Yeah, and oh, excuse me.
no, 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 go ahead.
Okay, what I wanted to say was you can't fool yourself either. You
Mm,
know, if you're thinking I'm not good enough, you can't, I mean, you can pretend that you think you're good enough, but if inside that's your belief, that will hold you back.
mm,
And, you know, and you can change that. It doesn't have to. I mean, that's what we know now. And there's, there's several ways of doing it. One is repeating affirmations. So repeating different thoughts that are empowering you. Another way is hypnosis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist as well. And
mm,
so I do use hypnosis sometimes. There's new techniques that I'm really excited about it in energy psychology, which is part of my energy coaching and what this is all about. And
mm-hmm.
these techniques I've found are the easiest and most efficient way of dissolving old beliefs and creating new ones.
Hmm.
So there is hope.
Well, and you know, especially with, you know, where we are now, where, you know, a lot of people are, you know, still in the shelter in place, and, you know, they're still really homebound, and, you know, they can't get out and play as much. You know, I think that this is a great opportunity to begin to sort of rewire, you know, some of
Yes.
those ways that, you know, that we think.
And that's
So,
exactly what you're doing is rewiring.
yeah.
That's a term.
Um, so let's maybe, so here's what I would like for you to do, if you don't mind. Would you give our viewers just maybe a few things to think about for the next week or so? Like, you know, hey, listen, guys, you know, think about this week.
Yeah, okay. Think about the things that are causing you problems in your life. What is difficult? What belief, and then start thinking along the lines, what beliefs might I have that are limiting me? Like, do I think I'm not good enough? How often does that come up where I think, I can't do this, I'm just not good enough? Or you find yourself comparing yourself to other people, uh, and whether, you know, sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down when you compare. So it's
Mhm.
not good anytime to really do that. So look at your life, just notice what you're thinking, observe your thoughts, and write down negative thoughts that you have. Uh, anything that you feel like, if I didn't think this way, I could do this. You might not be putting it in those terms. You might be thinking, this is the way I am, so I can't do that.
Mhm.
Okay, so really reflect. I mean, this is an awesome time to do that. You're right, because we're here, and this kind of, the energy right now is really conducive to reflection and learning more about ourselves and growing and coming out of this at a higher frequency rather than at a lower frequency.
That's
Sound
awesome.
good? Is that enough for 1 week?
No, no, absolutely. You know, I want to make sure that our, you know, our viewers are, you know, I want to give them some practical things, you know, that you can suggest to them. So no, I think that that's great. So Linda, why don't you tell our viewers where they can get in touch with you at?
Okay. The best place is to go to our website, yourmentalcoach.com.
Awesome.
Okay. And in
Well,
our next session, I want to do a process with our viewers.
ooh, I love it. I love it.
Right. Right.
Well, Linda, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for, you know, to our viewers for watching. And if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them for Linda or myself. Once again, this is Peak Performance Training for Tennis. I'm Idris Smith, High Performance Director of Tennis at Wheaton Sports Center in Wheaton, Illinois. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you soon.